This is African American History is American History. Welcome. I'm your host, Harlan Kearsley. This program's goal is to foster understanding, promote discussion, and expand knowledge through stories of historical events, bios of unsung heroes, as well as timely and relevant news stories which, hopefully, will paint a vivid picture of the effects of segregation, discrimination, and bigotry on the lives of both blacks and whites. Comparisons will be made between the many racially fractured periods of American history and what's going on right now. Slavery was abolished just 150 years ago. Jim Crow only 50 years ago. Yet stop and frisk, voter ID, stand your ground, income inequality, and a host of other current problems are proof that their detrimental effects continue to be felt, and that the struggle for equal rights for all must continue. During the Civil War, as free and enslaved African American men joined up to fight, free and enslaved African American women also participated in the Union war effort by working as laundresses, cooks, and matrons. One aspect of life for the African American soldier during that period that is hardly ever discussed is the toll the war took on their families, who desperately waited for word of their safety and return. Hannah Johnson, the mother of a free black soldier from the North, wrote to President Lincoln requesting fair treatment for African American soldiers.
Excellent, sir. My good friend says I must write to you and she will send it. My son went in the 54th Regiment. I'm a colored woman, and my son was strong and able as any to fight for his country, and the colored people have as much to fight for as any. My father was a slave and escaped from Louisiana before I was born more than 40 years ago. I have a poor education, but I never went to school. But I know just as well as any what is right between man and man. Now I know it is right that a colored man should go and fight for his country, and so ought to a white man. I know that a colored man ought to run no greater risks than a white. His pay is no greater. His obligation to fight is the same. So why should not our enemies be compelled to treat him the same? Made to do it. My son fought at Fort Wagner, but thank God he was not taken prisoner as many were. I thought of this thing before I let my boy go, but then they said Mr. Lincoln will never let them sell our colored soldiers for slaves. If they do, he will get them back quick. He will retaliate and stop it. Now, Mr. Lincoln, don't you think you ought to stop this thing and make them do the same by the colored men? They have lived in idleness all their lives on stolen labor and made savages of the colored people. But they now are so furious because they are proving themselves to be men, such as have come away and got some education. It must not be so. You must put the rebels to work in state prisons to making shoes and things if they sell our colored soldiers, till they let them all go, and give their wounded the same treatment. It would seem cruel, but there's no other way. And a just man must do hard things sometimes that show him to be a great man. They tell me some do. You will take back the proclamation. Don't do it. When you are dead and in heaven, in 1,000 years, that action of yours will make the angels sing your praises. I know it. Ought one man to own another lawful or not? Who made the law? Surely the poor slave did not. So it is wicked and a horrible outrage. There is no sense in it. Because a man has lived by robbing all his life and his father before him, should he complain because the stolen things found on him are taken? Robbing the colored people of their labor is but a small part of the robbery. Their souls are almost taken. They are made brutes of often. You know all about this. Will you see that the colored men fighting now are fairly treated? You ought to do this, and do it at once. Not let the thing run along. Meet it quickly and manfully, and stop this mean, cowardly cruelty. We poor oppressed ones appeal to you and ask fair play. Yours for Christ's sake, Hannah Johnson, July 31, 1863.
The wives of black recruits were not accustomed to having their husbands away from them for so long. Many of the letters from the wives detailed the suffering brought on by the war. Alone, and many still held in bondage, these women faced illness, hardship, and lack of funds. Anne Valentine was one of those women.
January 19, 1864. My dear husband, I received your letter dated January 9th, also one dated January 1st, but have got no one till now to write for me. You do not know how bad I am treated. They treat me worse and worse every day. A child cries for you. Send me some money as soon as you can, for me and my child are almost naked. My cloth is yet in the loom, and there is no telling when it will be out. Do not send any of your letters to Hogsett, especially those having money in them, as Hogsett will keep the money. George Combs went to Hannibal soon after you did, so I did not get that money from him. Do the best you can, and do not fret too much for me, for it won't be long before I will be free, and then all we make will be ours. Your affectionate wife, Anne. P.S. Please send our little girl a string of beads in your next letter to remember you by. Anne.
There has been a wealth of historical information gained from the interviews conducted with people who participated in or observed past events. These narratives from seemingly everyday people must be preserved, whether through audio tapes, videotapes, or written works, because if they're not, one day they will simply disappear forever, and future generations will be the losers. This has been African American History is American History. The episode you've been listening to, More Letters from the Civil War, was written, directed, and produced by Harlan Kearsley. The voice performer for this episode was Soraya Butler. I'm Harlan Kearsley. On behalf of everyone here at African American History is American History, thank you for listening. And remember, none of us can truly embrace the future until we first confront the past. African American History is American History. Copyright H.C. Kearsley, 2017.